Far, far from the game of the day. However, the Kings split the season series with the Nets, taking the loss tonight, 116-99. Ryno here, joined by Jerry. Thank you, Jerry, for making time for us on this beautiful Sunday evening.
Well, I'm just happy to. Obviously, such an exciting game. I know a lot of the Kings fans really excited about that performance. And I'll tell you what I learned today. I learned that UConn really finds a way to win, and Duke found a way to lose. that's about the most important thing I learned this afternoon.
Yeah, we'll get to the Kings here in a second, but I got to ask you, better moment, that UConn ending or Leitner's Duke ending in the 90s?
That's a great point. I think you'd have to put that right up there because there's really no way that Duke can lose if they just hold the ball and get fouled or something.
Yes, that's a great point.
But he tried to advance the ball when he didn't really have to and got it stolen. Then, of course, the kid made a miraculous shot. But, yeah, I'd have to say so because it results in going to the Final Four. I think you'd have to put that in the same category. Obviously, Duke wouldn't like it as much.
Yeah, Leitner's royalties might be thinning because of that play once we roll around to March Madness every single year. So the Kings' slow start tonight, Jer, just really not a lot of energy. Brooklyn making a lot of threes, but the second half was a little bit better.
Yeah, they played a little bit better. Thought they even had a chance early in the fourth to maybe win the game, really.
Yeah.
Just if it comes down to a lot of the same things. I mean, the defense was just so soft and for the most part tonight that, even when they could force turnovers, they couldn't really get enough stops other than that. And so, yeah, it's disappointing. I mean, especially I thought they played very well against the Hawks, much better team. And, I think most of us probably weren't totally surprised with the loss, but I was surprised at the way the loss happened.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. They got it within 9. Now, granted, no Malik Monk, no DeMar DeRozan, only the second missed game this season for DeMar. Killian Hayes, he is really good at moving the ball, but Jerry, that shot tonight just was not there.
Wasn't there tonight. Like I say, he's got good instincts for the game. You can see that. I mean, like I say, I wish he could, create a little more problems with off the dribble and things. But, I think he's going to be useful going forward. It may be a limited, very limited role.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that. And, of course, I think the disappointing thing is it's hard to say who's not going to be in a limited role going forward, really.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the Kings play this. Certainly, Daquan Jeffries will go back down to Stockton, who just wrapped up their regular season yesterday. They are headed to the WNBA, the G League playoffs again. They're the defending champions. Would not be surprised if also Daquan Plowden goes down there as well. Jerry, if you want to see some good basketball, get to Stockton in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, they've, as you know better than anybody. I mean,
Yeah.
They really played at a high level in the G League now for 3 or 4 straight years, and hadn't necessarily transferred up. Although the Kings have done a nice job of developing guys. Keon Ellis is a case in point. Plowden looks like he's going to be. They got, certainly Cardwell. I thought probably got a good start by playing well in the G League. Got some confidence to
For sure.
Translated up here, and so up in the big. So, yeah, it's a you kind of wish that that maybe the Stockton Kings or the Kings could move a couple of games a year to Sacramento, I think, and maybe make that a bonus for season ticket holders or something like that.
There you go. That's a good idea. They actually do play a couple games at the Golden One Center, but to make that a bonus for the season ticket holders, what's that hurt?
Well, not a thing. I mean, I think anything you could do to keep the season ticket holders involved and feel like they're getting a little something for their money, I think it would be a great plan. Or for that matter, give them free access, 10 games in Stockton for that matter.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah, that's not a bad idea at all. It's so funny because they still practice out in Natomas, and they got to make the drive all the way down to Stockton for the games.
Yeah, though I think that's a good plan, though, really, because they live out there too, don't they, in that area,
Indeed.
and so, I was out there for the Duke's women's practice because of Carol Lawson. We've been close for years, and so I went out there. She wanted me to speak to the team a little bit, so I did that.
How about that? Talk more about that, Jerry.
Yeah, it's nice, and I guess I helped in one game, didn't help in this, in the other one, but the my point, I guess, is the practice facility. Of course, that's where my office was for years. Still looks great. I've always thought it was a mistake putting the practice facility in the arena, to tell you the truth, because it's so much easier for players to go out there later at night. You don't have to go through any parking hassles or anything like that, and go in there and work out. And it's a great facility.
If you wouldn't mind, would you like to expand on that experience, going to see Duke practice and speaking to the team?
Yeah, it was a thing that Kara had called me. It said that that before they actually had won their final game and to get to Sacramento, and ask if just to visit a little bit, and ask if I'd be willing to come by at practice, and I said sure, and so I did that, and then basically, it was one of those things. She wanted me to just say a few words, and then she mentioned, that I had traded for a draft, and which I told the team the truth is that why I did is that I thought she'd be the missing piece on a championship team, because we had two great players in Tisha Pinachero and Yolanda Griffith, and I thought she'd be the kind of the piece that really kind of made it all work, and so happens it really did.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get it right, but yeah, I told her she thought I drafted her. In fact, I said, no, Detroit drafted you, but I traded for you on draft day. I'd been working on that because I tried to trade up to get her, couldn't do it. So I just was able to trade with our good friend, Bill Lambier. And
oh yeah.
Yeah, I like Bill. I mean, I wouldn't want to play against him. I didn't like coaching against him, but off the court, he was a very bright, likable guy.
It's funny. You lace up those sneakers, get in front of a few people, and things change.
Yeah, he's a miserable person on the floor. I think everybody on the opposing team and 2/3 of fans wanted to punch him in the nose. And
yes,
and of course he knew that. Of course he knew that was part of his shtick. I mean, he really could get into guys, get them off their game.
So I saw a question in the chat. How can Stockton, and I think it's a great question for both of us to kind of talk about really quick. How can Stockton be so consistent and good, and then Sacramento struggle so much in completely different worlds? But how do you see that, Jared?
Well, I think it is a different world in the sense that to be good in the G League, if you've got guys who are NBA caliber roster guys, you can win a lot of games, and compete for championships. Guys that are good enough to play in the NBA. To win the NBA, you have to have guys who are good enough. Several that are good enough to be on the All-Star team.
Yep.
It's a talent league, and in both cases, I've always said, my years in college at different levels, that in small college, if you wanted to win national or contend for national championships, you needed to have several guys that were good enough to play at Division I.
That's right.
I mean,
that'd be a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, and so that's what I'd always do, is recruit a lot of guys that were in Division I and were unhappy, and but that's the difference. It's a different level, and even when you get a really good one like a Keon Ellis and develop him, but yet he's still a reserve player.
Yes. I can't think of any stars that have ever really come from the G League outside of like a Scoot Henderson, who still has not worked out in Portland, but he was drafted high from the G League or Ignite team. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, in other words, he was basically drafted from the same way with Jalen Green and Kaminga, but
You know what? Great points. There are.
but I mean they were G leaguers as 18-year-olds. That's a whole different thing there. And
Yeah.
so they just went there because they didn't want to go to college. So they were put on that special team. But so I think that's a little different issue. And then the other part of that is neither one of them have had a real impact yet on winning in the NBA. Really, they're talented to different levels, and of course we don't know. Scoot probably is going to, I think, going to be pretty good, but don't know if he can ever match up to being the third pick in the draft either.
Yeah, it's pretty high pick there, Jer. So the Kings 116-99 losers tonight in Brooklyn. They take the flight to Toronto tonight. They'll match up with them in a couple of days. Last thing I was going to ask you is the telecast mentioned something that you say all the time about Dylan Carter being able to cover a lot of ground. He had about 3 dribbles, got to the hoop, made the bucket, and got fouled full court.
Yeah, I mean, he is such an energy effort guy. I really just love it. I mean, he doesn't always play great, but it's never because of lack of energy or effort. And he is developing a little bit of offense, which his little hooks around the basket are pretty efficient. Yeah, I think there's a lot of chapters left to be written about Cardwell, and I mean that'll be the key. He really needs the next 2 or 3 years to get better each year. And he can have a nice, successful career. If he stays just like he is, then it'll be a very short one.
Very true. Hey, you go enjoy the rest of your Sunday night.
Well,
have you already got the nap in, or you?
Yeah, I had an early one, but I might just go ahead and take another one because I had to fight to stay open or keep them dozing off during this game. Because it was. I mean, really, it's a hard watch tonight, wasn't it? I mean, and truthful, these are 2 teams that are heading nowhere, and is sadly that the Kings really didn't play till after the half, and so that's disappointment. So, hopefully Toronto, really good team. So my guess is that the Kings will go up there and really play them well.
Yeah, that's what
be
they
surprised
usually do.
if they don't. Because it seems like against the better teams, whether it's Orlando or Atlanta, they in both cases they played very well, I thought.
Yep.
And so tonight wasn't one of those nights, Ryno.
No, it was not. It's just you and I here, right?
Yeah.
so you weren't the only one. I closed my eyes during the first half. Too,
yeah.
So
I was gonna say I might have dozed off.
You're the man. All right, we'll talk to you later this week, buddy.
Later this week, buddy. Take care.
Appreciate you. I mean, really not, and thanks to Jer, love him. Really not a lot to dig into on this one. Doug McDermott still does what he does. Neek got 14 shots, only made 8. You got to worry about that 3 ball. He got that one late. That's got to get a little bit better. Daquan Plowden did not have the same game that he had in Atlanta, but still showing those signs of athleticism. My guess is, and I have not talked to anybody or heard from anybody, but I would think you're going to get probably DeMar DeRozan back when it comes to the game in Toronto, which is, I believe, on Tuesday. Let's check the Kings schedule right here. A lot of L's on that schedule, but no, they get 3 days off. So Wednesday, Toronto, and then you are back at home for New Orleans, the Clippers, at Golden State, and then home, Golden State, and you finish the season out on the road against Portland. It's here. And look, I get it. Y'all that are watching this, hardcores of the hardcores. The next thing to pay attention to for this team becomes what is their lottery position going to be? And then it'll be full speed ahead when it comes to the draft, knowing where you will be at with the lottery. The Kings are going to need to call on some lady luck, because even if they do, which I don't think they will, finish with the worst record in the NBA, the last team to get the first pick having the worst record in the NBA was 2019-2020. If you need to call on anybody for your plumbing, water heater, service line repair, it's New Works Plumbing, open 24/7 New Works has a fix for you. 916-713-1010. Like I said, give them a call. They do just about everything, and they do everything very well. Water heaters, sewer repair, gas lines, filtration. We're thinking about doing that. Sewer repair, 24/7. New Works has a fix for you. Go check them out. newworksplumbing.com. So I do want to draw just really quick, since we were talking about Stockton, and I saw that question about how do the two not translate. Well, they actually have translated, because, as Jerry pointed out, you've had a Keon Ellis. You have had, I would argue, even what Mason Jones has done. And I know most of it was down with that G League team. He was the G League MVP for the finals. You're getting guys, Isaac Jones now in Detroit. You're getting, in this year, obviously Dylan Cardwell, Daquan Plowden can be added possibly to the list. You're getting the right amount of guys out of that program that are able to play at the NBA level. Rare is the time you get a star from the G League. Mac McClung, for instance, who has been in so many dunk contests. You think of him as a dunker. He's actually the G League's all-time leading scorer now. So he's a pretty good all-around player, but it doesn't translate to the NBA. Stockton, their program, the guys that they intentionally bring in, Gabe Harris at the helm as the GM, has done a tremendous job. And what's really special about their run is they've done it with 3 separate head coaches. Will Scott, the 3rd coach now in 3 years. You had Lindsay move on to, she went to the Lakers. Last year's coach moved on as well. But they run a system that's conducive and similar to what the Kings do, but it is just speed, speed, speed. Made bucket, they're going the other way. And there's a strong chance they could bring home the championship again this year. So go check them out. They have a bye in the first round, and then they will host a Western Conference semifinal game. If you want to see some basketball that matters at a good price, go check it out. You will enjoy it. You'll see a lot of familiar faces. In fact, again, you'll probably see, it's interesting. Based off of what they did last year, they might send Daquan down. They might. Because they did that with Isaac Jones. They sent him to Orlando for the finals. But definitely Jeffries will be back with Stockton. So go check them out. Looking forward to that as we roll around. Any last minute questions, get them in the chat. If you'd like to call the show, would love to hear from you. We are gearing up for a big week on Fox Sports. We'll be doing our Sweet 16 of the best uniforms in the history of sports. Voting will start this week, so make sure you join us. Also, not too late to go grab some prime rib tonight at Bennett's. Weekend prime rib. It's too late for the brunch, but not the prime rib. Get there. 3 locations: Roseville, Rockland, Howe, and Fair Oaks. Prime cuts of seafood and steak. Happy hour all day long, every day of the week. And I'm telling you, BennettRestaurants.com. You'll be blown away by all the different specials that they are running on a daily basis. Awesome stuff. Go check them out. Prime cuts of seafood and steak. BennettRestaurants.com. Anything stick out to all you tonight? A lot of boozer talk. Yeah, Duke is lost rough the last couple years. I'm okay. So Cam Boozer tonight, I think he's gonna be a good pro like everybody else, but I don't know that he's gonna be that special guy. He'll be in the league for 12 to 15 years, but I worry a little bit about his speed. I do. Is he a little bit too look at his speed versus some of the other bigs. Like, I even put his speed up against Cardwell's. I wonder if he's just in that in-between range. And this is all stuff that we'll talk about as we get closer. None of us know. I mean, things will change as you get the NBA combine, where guys will play against each other, certainly workouts that will happen with teams. Acuff, what's going on with that shoulder? Is he going to be good to go? A lot of stuff still coming up. Mac McClung averaged 1.2 points in the NBA. No, Sean, there's real basketball going on down there. I get what you're saying. It's not the NBA. Doesn't mean it's not real basketball, my man, but it does prove my point. Is Grant playing hooky? No, he is off tonight, just like I was off the other night. Went out and checked out the Republic last night. That was pretty fun. Unbelievable comeback. Yeah, it's hard not to talk about that. It really is. It's hard not to talk about that. That's a memorable moment. If you are a youngster out there, that is a moment that's more than it's at least the Christian Laettner moment. At minimum, it's that. But I mean, for us, you got the Bryce Drew shot. That one's up there. You got my guy, San Diego State, the shot to make it to the national championship. Lamont Butler, yeah, not like that though. That was pretty damn cool. So go check it out. I'm kind of embarrassed right now. I am. I missed tonight on my prize pick. I'm not going to give you the lineup, but it was a 4 player stat projection, and I missed by half of a rebound. Darn it. That's all right. Great thing about PrizePicks is legal in 50 states. Go check them out. Download the PrizePicks app, America's #1 daily fantasy site. No salary caps, no revolving lineups. Simply, you choose 2 to 6 players, pick more or less on their stat projections. And that's it. You let them go to work for you. You can get early payouts as well if your lineup gets off to a good start. I am on there, Ryno in Sacktown. Follow me, join my community, find your community. Use the promo code Ryno50, RYNO50 to get $50 in free play after you play your first $5 lineup. Win or lose, you get $50 in free play. Use that promo code. Come hop on the back of me and other people that are having a lot of fun and a lot of success on PrizePicks. So go check them out. Download the PrizePicks app today. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Unbelievable. The Kings have the worst bench in the NBA. I mean, the bench was how many players tonight? The Kings had 9 dressed. It's tough to say. Kings are going to have some decisions, though, come the off season. Drafting, yeah, we'll see. Caitlin Clark on the floor. Cool. I don't have a problem with it. I don't. She was a contributor early on with them. So, all right, go check out the UConn game. Nothing massive from the Kings, but many will be happy that they split with Brooklyn. This was a game, if you are a fan, that is hoping to have the best draft possibilities when it comes to the odds. This was a game that you wanted to probably lose because they were a half game, I believe, the Kings behind Brooklyn for worst record. I'm not sure that we have got that updated. Let's see, but there is the NBA standings for you. 18-57. I don't think that is updated. Oh, it is updated. So 18-57. Oh no, it's not. I was looking at the Kings. Oh, yeah, it is. 18-57. See, I'm going back and forth. Are the Nets. Then you've got the Wizards at 57 losses. You've got the Pacers at 58. We dropped to the bottom of the Kings. The Kings are now at 57. So they are a game back in the loss column of the Pacers and squared up right now with 3 other teams. So there you go. We will see. Top 4 pick. That's what the Kings need. All right. We are out for the night. Appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. Grant and I are back tomorrow, Fox Sports Radio. Join us 104.7, 890 a.m. Looking forward to that. If you did not know, we have the simulcast going. We are on camera. We are putting stats up. got a full week, fun week coming ahead. Certainly no shortage of topics coming off of the Final Four being set. Have a great night. Be safe. Enjoy the weather. Until Wednesday, we will see you on Fox Sports Radio. So long.